Are you enjoying Bourbon Podcast? Be sure to leave us a review. Let us know how we're doing. And by the way, thanks for listening.
Yourself in here tonight, darling. Let's get you back to some of that light that.
Everybody, thanks for joining Bourbon Podcast. We've got another proof positive for you. Today we're going to review Kentucky Owl rye whiskey, 11 years, limited edition. This is the Bayou Mardi Gras XO cask. It's finished for 1 year in basically rum cask, right, Joe?
That's correct. That's what the XO is all about.
The pride of Louisiana.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about this one, Joe.
Oh, boy. Well, first of all, the retail price is $500 on this.
Yeah.
Which we will take into account.
Which the cheapskates, me and Kyle, will thank Ben for opening his $500 bottle.
Ben's like, which of the multiple bottles I have should I open?
They're lying, honey.
Hera, don't listen.
They're lying.
And you know, he buys the $500 bottle of, he doesn't even know what he's going to get because he knows it's going to result in, well, maybe I'm going to get this Old Forester birthday bourbon over here. But
there we go.
That's kind of where, let's set the tone for this.
It's all about relationships, people. You've got to buy these to get to, and we'll see. I mean, maybe this is the greatest bottle in the history of bottles, but we're about to find out.
It's interesting. I was a skeptic, I think, coming into this, this particular release. Anything that you see that it kind of a creative finishing or a blending process, and we even when I see it at $100 or $200 a bottle, I'm thinking to myself, what am I doing here? Like, is it really worth that? And this is $500. So, and I have not had a drop of this, full disclosure. But the story, when I looked into it, is very interesting, and so I'm really excited to kind of try this. But there is apparently, when Stoli bought Kentucky Owl a few years ago, there was a lot of speculation about whether they were just going to mass market Kentucky Owl bourbon and rye. But they've done something interesting here that Orphan Barrel, the Diageo has done with the Orphan Barrel program, and that they've identified some of their really strong resources internally, which include a Bayou rum master blending expert for one of their products. And so what they've done here is they've taken the classic Kentucky Owl 11-year rye, and they worked with a Bayou rum master, Raniel Vicente Diaz, who basically came up with this idea of, I'm rolling these barrels out. We have this rum finishing in American oak barrels, for 5 years. What would happen if we take that great Kentucky Owl that we've just purchased, this particular company, this 11-year rye, and we put this into these barrels? And so they took only 38 very special, freshly emptied Bayou rum XO Mardi Gras barrels that were actually produced, rum for Mardi Gras. And these were premium rum casks. And they took 11-year-old rye whiskey and they finished it for a whole year in there. And that Bayou rum, I mean, you think about the Bayou, I mean, you're talking about crazy weather extremities down there. The heat, the humidity, everything that goes with it. And it's 5 years that rum was finished into these barrels. And so now you're going to dump some precious Kentucky rye, 11-year-old juice, let it kind of sit there for a whole year and see what it's going to produce. And that's what we're looking at. And this is why it's costing $500, because it's so limited under those number of barrels that they've done.
Did they say how many barrels they
38 barrels.
Huh? Okay.
And so what's really interesting as they blended those together is that, hats off to Stoli on this one, in that they actually use some of their resources and brands that and experts that they have in their kind of company profile. And they've tried to produce something here that is really rare and unique. And so I'm going to be excited to kind of try this, because the Kentucky Owl, as we all know, the history there is quite substantial dating back to the 1800s. And so this is kind of what we're dealing with here. And so for those of you who are thinking about purchasing a $500 bottle, it's on the shelves as we speak. If you want to, it's probably going to be there at $500. And let me say one more thing before we kind of taste this, which is, we've talked a lot about how you can buy a lot of really good scotch on the shelf if you're willing to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the shelf. And you can't find any of the good bourbons on the shelf because, it retails for $100 a bottle and everybody wants to resell it for $3,000 or $2,000 a bottle. So Kentucky Owl is kind of, this particular release, they've kind of put it at a price point where it's probably going to be on the shelf.
I'm not opposed to that. Good for them.
Yeah, good for them. So let's just dive into this and be completely honest about how we feel.
Let me give you the tasting notes. So this is from the press release from Kentucky Owl. On the nose, Kentucky Owl Mardi Gras XO Cask Limited Edition greets drinkers with robust toasted rye bread notes, smothered in farm fresh sweet butter with hints of cinnamon, allspice, and nutmeg. The mouthfeel begins with a robust, flavorful Kentucky straight rye whiskey, followed by a flurry of sweet butter whipped with allspice. The finish is smooth, with the sweet softness of butter and allspice giving way to a long and warming nutmeg coda? C-O-D-A? What the hell is that?
Yeah. Like the end. Like the finish.
I'll say what's kind of nice. It is 100.
Hey Siri, what the hell's a coda?
Coda's like at the end. It's
She actually just answered me.
I am getting a more classic rye nose.
No doubt. Well, and you're getting some of those XO rum cask notes too, the sweetness. But like bear in mind, it's 102.8 proof, which is, again, hats off to Stoli for kind of coming out with a little bit higher proof.
It is sweet.
It's sweet, but it's okay. The fact that they're releasing this at a higher, proof.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
They didn't go out there for the volume. They're like, okay.
For a $500 bottle, let's not come out at 80 proof.
And, it's weird. The viscosity is pretty decent in the glass, but, the difference between this and like the last proof positive we did is I'm noticing legs on this that are like literally like they're really narrow rather than thick and coated around the sides, and so I'm curious to see what that means. There are lots of legs, or like hundreds of legs around my glass rather than, let's say, like eight legs or some kind of bar chart. So all right,
is that in your Excel spreadsheet, Joe?
No.
No.
I'm getting excited about this. Oh, the XO casks are huge on this. The rum cask
think
finish.
so? I don't know. I feel like I'm getting a lot of rye. I'm getting a lot of rye.
I get no rum.
I mean, Joe's the expert, but I'm getting a lot of rye.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
We're red light, green
it's
light.
delicious.
Red light, green light. Yeah.
It is very good.
It's really good.
But
I'd like to kind of pound this a little bit. I mean, the flavors are explosive up front. The heat hits, but then the finish isn't where we typically would like to see it. A long, substantial finish.
I agree. Yeah,
it's a very thin
thinner
finish.
Yeah, it's a thinner finish.
I'm getting heat on the nose again, but no, I'm not getting heat on the taste.
No, it's a shorter finish than what I would expect.
It is, and viscosity is a little on the thin side there.
It's good. I mean, it's really good, but $500?
Yeah, that's it.
Is it $500 worth, Joe?
I'm not sure. Like again, the flavors are fairly explosive. With the, again, I am getting a lot of sweet.
It's sweet.
That XO barrel.
But here's my comp. Angel's Envy finish in rye.
Yeah.
Like I can, or in rum cask. Sorry, I can taste the rum.
Taste that rum.
I can taste that rum. Like the rum spice, I can taste. Better or worse, I'm not getting that here. To me, this is a delicious rye. The finish is a little thin to me. Like $500, I'm struggling with.
I agree.
All right, so yeah, so and if your price point, if you're going to spend $500, do you want to do it MSRP on this, or do you want to buy a secondary handy, Joe?
It's a great story, and
it's an expensive story, Joe.
We like storybook. This podcast loves good stories.
I like a good story.
And But I would say, yeah, you need to go try this at your local bar. Track it down and try a sample if you're curious about the story and the flavors. But I'm with you all. I think that it doesn't have all the pieces of the puzzle that you'd want to produce a 500.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
bottle.
this is what I love about how we do proof positive. We
Yeah.
talk about value, which a lot of reviews don't, and that's fine.
Yeah.
It's a delicious whiskey, but yeah, for $500, especially MSRP, like I want to have my socks knocked off.
You go back to some of the other ryes that we've done. Sagamore 8-year. I would take the Sagamore 8-year over this. I'm not saying this is bad. I mean, I will drink this only because I paid $500 for it. So I feel like I gotta.
You're gonna have to. Yeah.
But I mean, it's good. It's not a handy. It's not a Sagamore 8. But it's good.
Well, but yeah, I mean, so if you took value out of it, right, it may be a different story, but you know, at the end of the day, like that's what we're bourbon drinkers of the people, whiskey drinkers of the people, and you got to take value into consideration.
I think you do. And then when the other thing too, I wonder if you try to create demand just by upping the price. I mean, I know it's 11-year, and I know there are very few bottles, and I understand the concept behind the very limited rum barrels that they had. But damn, $500?
Well, I'm not opposed to what they're doing because to Joe's point, it's like with American whiskey, with bourbon and rye in America so far, it's been MSRP or like all $150 or less.
It's ridiculous.
And they sell out, nobody can find them, and Joe's making money on the secondary market, and I'm calling him when I need stuff, which is fine. But with Scotch, it's different. And so, like, I'm not opposed to what they're doing here.
Right.
Like, good for them. And, you know, maybe for them, this is probably better than having it come out at $90 and it sells out immediately and it's trading on the secondary.
I would say this is the production cost of this whiskey. And it really is. I mean, because that 11-year rye going in there.
It's an old
There's something about those, the rum barrels they're working with, and maybe they would be interesting, but can we try that 11-year before it entered the barrel?
Yeah. So that's what's interesting.
And this is probably a 95.5, you know.
Yeah.
Like rye.
Do we know what the Angel's Envy finished in rum, what that age statement is? Do we know?
No, but
it's not 11 years, but
no.
But more than the age statement, like this 95.5 rye, like I'm just assuming it's MGP, but it may not be. But I'd just be curious to see if those rum barrels really mellowed, like some of those rye, the full-bodied rye flavors you're looking for, and then and sweetened it up a bit.
Yeah, and it's a little sweet, but I mean, I would have expected you had your whole elaborate backstory you just made us suffer through, and I mean enjoy. No, but I would have expected like a heavy rum,
right? I would too,
right? And that's not what I'm getting.
No, you're not getting that, and you're not getting the heavy rye.
All right,
you're just kind of left with a bunch of stuff.
I mean, I'm thumbs up, price agnostic. $500, I'm thumbs down.
Yeah, I'm with Kyle on this one. It's exactly where I am, which is.
It's good whiskey, but
it's good whiskey. You want to try it? Go hunt it down for an ounce. But hats off to the pricing on this. So it'll be on the shelf at least.
Oh, it'll be on the shelf for a long time. It's a great $75 whiskey if you want to pay it $500 for. I mean, I think there are other ryes out there that are equal. If I was going to spend $500, I would do it secondary Thomas Handy. I would buy 5 Sagamore 8s. There are other things that I would spend with this. I'm kind of pissed I spent $500,
but you get that old Forester birthday bourbon then.
But I'll tell you something else. This is a limited release, so there's a difference. So there's drinkers, there are collectors, there's some people who do a little bit of both. This is one that if you're a collector, I wouldn't. I mean, put it on a shelf, take pretty pictures of it. I'm not sure I drink it.
But real fast, I know we're finishing. This isn't trading in secondary right now, right? Like it's just
it's well, and it's probably settling in like that, like $300
below
to $400.
God, I lost 40%.
Yeah.
But Ben, it's all about the relationships, buddy.
Well, they're gonna have to give me something really good. Actually. It's not bad. I don't want to suggest.
What else did you get?
It's definitely not.
No, it's good.
I got a stag.
You got a stag with that
MSRP.
Yeah.
You see?
No,
Yeah.
it's good. It's just $500.
So the price point's a little high. I think the juice is good. I think that's kind of consensus.
Yeah.
The price point does not equal the juice, but
Yeah.
the juice ain't bad.
No.
It
No,
ain't
it's not bad. The finish, just I think those Curaçaos kind of kill probably a very good
And
11-year rye.
it's got an alligator skin sticker,
which I like a lot. I actually like
Well,
that.
I mean, we should probably talk about that. It's a really appealing, like.
It's got a cool box. The branding is very cool. So if you're into that, grab it. If you want to spend $500, grab a handy.
Darling, something got you dragging yourself in here tonight, darling. Let's get you back to some of that light, that shine. Get you some of that feel good feeling. Get you some of that.